2022. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore. All that and more is straight ahead on Sunrise. First, let's get a check of your Storm Tracker 2 forecast. For that, meteorologist Hannah Evans joining us from the Weather Center with much more, and not a bad morning, a little cool out.
Yes, it is a little chilly outside, but we are starting out with some clouds. The clouds will make way for sunshine today, and it looks to be dry for the next couple of days.
I can't remember seeing the sun.
I know,
it's been
same.
A while.
I know, it's been a while. So let's take a look now at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. At this point, we are tracking nothing on our radar. It does look dry for at least the next couple of days into the middle of next week, but it is going to remain on the cooler side today. So we are starting out this morning in the 40s. We will reach just the upper 50s for the high temperature, and our average high for this time of year is in the mid 60s. So we will be below that. It is going to be a little bit breezy, but at least the sun will come out for the day today. So we are going to be dry with sunshine, a nice change up from the gloomy days with rain showers that we have been seeing for most of this week. But as for tonight into tomorrow, frost and freeze conditions are possible, so we are keeping an eye out on that. There is a frost advisory in effect for all of central New York for early tomorrow morning. But other than that, it is looking like a pretty nice weekend ahead with a mix of clouds and sun. So for today, highs are just going to be in the upper 50s. Clouds will decrease and it will be a little bit breezy, and I will be talking a little bit more about the frost and freeze possible tonight coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast, never more than 10 minutes away. Hurricane Ian slammed into the Florida coastline, packing 155-mile-per-hour winds. That's just shy of a Category 5 storm. The dangerous hurricane made it largely impossible for authorities to begin to assess the damage from the storm. But it's already clear that Ian will go down as one of the most destructive storms in Florida history. NBC's Chris Pallone is in Tampa this morning with the latest.
When Ian arrived in southwest Florida, it came with a vengeance.
Oh my gosh.
The hardest hit areas all located close to Cayo Costa, where the eye made landfall Wednesday afternoon. Its intensity and duration has initially prevented a full accounting of what's been lost.
We don't even know exactly what we faced just yet. We know we've been hit very hard.
Ian roared ashore, packing 155-mile-per-hour winds, just shy of a Category 5. But it was the storm surge in places like Naples and Fort Myers that did so much of the damage, leaving entire neighborhoods underwater and cars bobbing down the street. In Naples, firefighters scrambled to salvage their gear when their fire station flooded. Ian even spawned tornadoes as it approached.
All of a sudden, I felt something and then heard like a train coming right through the house.
The storm's fierce winds even pushed the waters of Tampa Bay out into the Gulf of Mexico, exposing the bed below. Now, as people in other parts of Florida and the Southeast prepare for Ian's arrival, the state's governor tries to put it all in perspective.
At a minimum, it's going to be a very strong Category 4 that's going to rank as one of the top 5 hurricanes to ever hit the Florida Peninsula.
And it's not done yet. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Tampa.
And believe it or not, 3 central New Yorkers are there right now, hunkering down on Marco Island, right where the eye of the hurricane made landfall in that area. One was there for a family wedding and couldn't leave last week because of COVID. The other 2 are on what is turning out to be a very memorable anniversary trip. They've been friends for more than 3 decades, but this trip, they moved furniture upstairs, filled buckets with water, stocked up on snacks, and secured their hurricane shutters. Well, we've been staying in touch with Lisa Dillon and Jim and Kathy Piccola. You can hear more on their story right now at WKTV.com. And you've got to check these images out right here. NASA provided updated pictures of Hurricane Ian as it appears from space. The images were released yesterday and taken from cameras on board the International Space Station. As we've been reporting, Hurricane Ian remains an extremely strong Category 4 hurricane, with winds just 2 miles per hour shy of being upgraded to a Category 5. A Clinton man is...
Welcome back. A little update on Hurricane Ian. It is now Tropical Storm Ian because the wind speeds are only at 65 miles per hour for the maximum sustained wind speed. So now has dropped down to a tropical storm still in central Florida. It does look to move up into North and South Carolina at this point as a tropical storm, and then will weaken into a depression of a low pressure system. We're still tracking it because there is the possibility that if it is very strong at this point still, we could be seeing seeing just a few scattered or passing showers on Saturday in our area, but that chance is kind of 50-50 at this point. It just depends how strong it is as it keeps moving up the coast. So if you didn't want to spend time outside, yes, for today and tomorrow, it's going to be very nice for the next 2 days. A little chilly today, a little bit warmer tomorrow. And as for Saturday, still maybe right now. At this point, we are looking at still mostly dry conditions, but very small possibility that we could be seeing a few scattered showers left over from, at this point, Tropical Storm Ian, if it does come up the coast a little bit more. We also are going to be warming up into the weekend. So today, a little bit chilly, highs in the upper 50s, but tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, we will rise into the low to mid 60s, so it is going to get a little bit warmer. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. After a 2-year hike.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting out cloudy and cool this morning, but we will warm up a little bit today and we will see sunshine. So let's take a look at the Cavi Tower camera overlooking the city of Utica. Cloudy skies to start, as well as temperatures right now in the 40s, but we will warm up to the upper 50s, which is still below average for this time of year. And taking a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, still tracking dry conditions. This is all due to this high pressure system that is approaching us from the west. It is still going to be a little bit breezy and chilly today, though. We warm up tomorrow and into the weekend. So this morning we are starting out in the 40s, 44 degrees in Inlet, 47 degrees in Whitesboro and in Deansboro. And looking to the south, we have 49 degrees in Cooperstown and 45 degrees in Skenevis. And once again, the high temperature looks to reach the upper 50s. So we will remain on the cooler side for today. And even tonight, it is going to get a little bit chilly. We have overnight lows in the mid 30s. Because of this, the National Weather Service has put a frost advisory in effect for all of central New York, as well as a freeze warning in effect for northern Herkimer County from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Frost could kill crops and vegetation, so I would just recommend to be prepared for this. Frost is definitely likely overnight tonight, and tomorrow morning patchy frost is possible. But overall, for the next few days, going to be pretty nice. Today and tomorrow we are tracking sunshine. It's going to warm up a little bit tomorrow, more tomorrow than today. And on Saturday, as of right now, it looks dry with nice weather, but there is the very small possibility that we could be seeing a few light scattered showers due to if Hurricane Ian reaches us in its path, if it does continue to be strong as it heads up the coast. So over for the weekend, we are tracking dry conditions still as of right now. Extra cloud cover on Saturday due to the possibility that we could be seeing some showers from Hurricane Ian, but as of right now, it is looking dry with temperatures in the 60s over the weekend. But let's take a look at what our Skycast has. As for today, clouds look to decrease for sunshine, breezy conditions, and highs in the upper 50s. And tonight, once again, frost is likely overnight, as well as freeze is possible, especially for the North Country, with an overnight low in the mid 30s. As for tomorrow, we will be seeing partly cloudy skies. Some upper level clouds do come in with a high in the low 60s. And then heading into Saturday, it does get a little bit cloudy due to Hurricane Ian kind of being just below us. And there is a very small possibility, this model is showing it, other models are not, showing it that we could be seeing a few scattered showers on the day on Saturday due to if Hurricane Ian reaches us or not, but they are not going to be widespread or heavy, just scattered showers. So for today, clouds will decrease. It will be breezy with highs in the upper 50s, and tonight, frost and possibly some freeze overnight with a low in the mid 30s. And as for tomorrow, we are going to be warming up a little bit more with sunshine. The weekend will warm up even more, and we look to be dry on our whole 7-day forecast, Gary.
Cover up tonight.
Yes, so tonight definitely frost is possible.
Get the blankets out.
Yes, electric blanket.
Hannah, thanks. The time now is 5:24. Up next, it's the scariest house this Halloween season. This half hour, I'm Gary Libator. A lot to get to this morning. First, let's get a check of your forecast. Meteorologist Hannah Evans joining us now from the Weather Center, and a bit of a cool morning, but at least it's dry.
Yes, we are starting out dry, but it is mostly cloudy, but the clouds will make way for sunshine today.
We haven't seen a nice clear radar like that in a while.
I know, it's been a couple of days
Yeah.
where we've been seeing this gloomy weather.
That's for sure.
So let's take a look now at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, tracking dry conditions here this morning. And now, after a couple of days of rain, we have a nice dry stretch coming up. It is a little bit chilly today, but we will start to warm up into the weekend. As of this morning, we start out in the 40s, and again, we will just reach the upper 50s. It will be a little bit breezy as well, but at least we will be seeing sunshine. So it is going to be dry with sunshine today, a nice change from the rain and the clouds for the past couple of days. Overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, it is going to get pretty cool. Frost and freeze conditions are possible, so I will keep that in mind for tomorrow morning. And even looking ahead, we do warm up for the weekend with a pretty nice weekend in store. And as for today, tracking a decrease in cloud cover, breezy conditions, and highs in the upper 50s. Then we'll be talking a little bit more about the frost and freeze conditions tonight coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. Devastation from Hurricane Ian will begin to be seen across Florida this morning as things literally start to come to light. Officials in Washington are taking an all-hands-on-deck approach, and today, President Biden will visit the FEMA headquarters for an update as storm damage is expected to be catastrophic. FEMA, along with the National Guard, already on the ground in Florida, ready to respond to those in need. NBC's Bree Jackson has been looking into this overnight and has the latest for us now from Capitol Hill.
Hurricane Ian slamming Florida, flooding roads, knocking out power to millions, and wreaking havoc on people's lives.
Yeah, I screwed up, but gotta do what I gotta do with the reality that I have, which is get the hell out of that house.
It's my home. It's the only thing I have. I mean, and my mother, you know, I mean, if that goes, then what do you do?
Ian made landfall as a Category 4 storm, the 5th strongest in U.S. history.
This is going to be a storm we talk about for many years to come.
Warranting an all-hands-on-deck response. Officials say that includes 30,000 linemen to restore power, 7,000 National Guard troops to help with cleanup, 1,600 high-water vehicles for rescue efforts.
This level of interagency coordination will not stop as we prepare for the historic and the catastrophic impacts that we are already beginning to see.
President Biden continues to keep a close eye on the storm and says long-term assistance will also be available.
When the storm passes, the federal government can be there to help you recover.
Congress is working to pass budget legislation that includes recovery aid for Floridians impacted the most.
The bipartisan government funding bill the Senate is on track to pass this week will ensure the Federal Disaster Relief Fund is fully resourced at this critical moment.
With Ian continuing on its destructive path, governors in several southeastern states are now declaring a state of emergency. President Biden also warned oil and gas companies against increasing prices. A spokesperson for the American Petroleum Institute pushed back, saying prices are determined by market forces, not individual companies. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for NBC News.
And coming up later this morning on Today, live coverage from across the state of Florida after the strike by Ian, one of the most powerful hurricanes to strike the U.S. in decades. NBC News' Lester Holt reports from Bradenton with live reports from reporters on the ground in Sarasota, Jacksonville, Orlando, and Tampa. That all starts at 7 right here on WKTV NBC. We're getting a better look at the Rome budget proposal in this morning's Focus Economy, and it may not be so bad.
Welcome back. We are going to be on the cooler side today and seeing below average temperatures. Up in the North Country, we will just reach the low 50s. We will be in the mid to upper 50s in the Mohawk Valley, and same thing for the Southern Valley, is looking to be in the mid 50s for the high temperature today. But we are going to see the sun come in after clouds decrease this morning. It is also going to be a little bit breezy, but the wind drops down for calm for tomorrow and Saturday, and does get breezy again for Sunday. But looking ahead, it is going to get pretty chilly tonight with overnight lows in the 30s. That is our next chance for some frost, possibly even some freeze in areas like the North Country tonight into tomorrow morning. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. In this morning's Medical Minute,
Works most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. It is starting out cloudy this morning and a little bit chilly, but we will see the sun come in for the afternoon. Let's take a look at the CAVI tower camera overlooking the city of Utica. Temperatures at this point are in the 40s, so we are pretty cool outside and starting out cloudy, but good news is that our dry stretch of weather does start today. And if we take a look now at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, seeing no precipitation on our radar. This is due to that cold front moving out, this high pressure system just to the west of us approaching us. The only thing is it is still going to be a little bit chilly and breezy for today. So as of this morning, our temperatures are in the 40s. We have 44 degrees in Inlet, 47 degrees in Dowdesville and in Whitesboro, 46 degrees in Deansboro, and looking to the south, we have 47 degrees in Norwich, 45 degrees in Skanevis. So we are in the 40s. We will reach the upper 50s today, which is below average for this time of year. It is going to feel a little bit cool, and we really get pretty chilly tonight. So our overnight lows tonight are going to fall into the mid to upper 30s. Because of this, the National Weather Service has put a frost advisory in effect for all of central New York, as well as a freeze warning in effect for northern Herkimer County from 1 a.m. tomorrow morning till 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Frost and freeze conditions can kill vegetation and crops, so just be prepared for that tonight. This is definitely possible overnight tonight as our temperatures drop into the 30s. But we will warm up a little bit more tomorrow than today, but great day to spend time outside, maybe on the patio, enjoy some fresh air for today and tomorrow. As for Saturday, I'm only saying maybe because there is the possibility that could be seeing some scattered showers due to if Hurricane Ian does reach us. At this point, it is not looking likely, but we could be seeing just a few scattered showers, nothing widespread, nothing heavy. So looking ahead to the weekend, we are going to be seeing a little bit extra cloud cover though from Hurricane Ian. Temperatures in the 60s. Sunday, the sunshine comes back in and the dry weather looks to last for at least the middle of next week. So for this morning, cloudy skies, a little bit chilly to start. We will remain on the cooler side today with highs in the upper 50s, breezy conditions, but it will be sunny. Tonight, it will remain clear. Overnight lows are going to fall into the mid 30s. Frost is definitely possible overnight tonight, as well as freeze condition up in areas of the north. And as for tomorrow, we will see a little bit extra high level clouds, but it is going to get a little bit warmer with sunshine, highs in the low 60s. And then heading into Saturday, there is the chance to see a few scattered showers due to Hurricane Ian. As of right now, not looking too likely. It looks to stay south of us, but we will be seeing a little bit extra cloud cover on Saturday. So as for today, we start out with clouds. They decrease for sunshine with breezy conditions and cooler weather, and tonight frost and freeze conditions are possible. So for tomorrow, we will warm up a little bit more than today. A very small chance of rain on Saturday, but the dry weather looks to last for the middle of next week. News Channel 2 at Sunrise continues after the break.
2022. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Libator. All that and more straight ahead on Sunrise. First, let's get a check of your Storm Tracker 2 forecast. For that, meteorologist Hannah Evans joins us with a look at what we can expect here on this Thursday. Good morning.
Good morning, Gary. So we are starting today as we are going to be dry today, and it does look to remain dry even until the middle of next week, which is good.
Wow, a nice stretch. The weekend looks good.
Yes, the weekend looks nice. So it is a nice stretch of dry weather after a stretch of some rain. So let's take a look now at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. At this point, tracking dry conditions. High pressure is taking over for the next couple of days, but we are still going to be on the chilly side today. Starting out in the 40s, we will just reach the upper 50s, which is below average for this time of year. But good news is that we are finally going to be seeing some sunshine. So it is going to be dry and clouds will decrease this morning with some sun. Overall, a pretty nice day with a slight breeze. But as we head into tonight, into early tomorrow morning, frost and freeze conditions are possible. So make sure you prepare for that and keep an eye out on that. But even looking ahead, we are going to warm up into the weekend. And overall, a pretty nice weekend ahead. So for today, we are tracking a decrease in cloud cover, highs in the upper 50s with breezy conditions. Then we'll be talking a little bit more about the possible frost and freeze tonight coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Thanks. Don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast, never more than 10 minutes away. Hurricane Ian slammed into the Florida coastline Wednesday, packing 155-mile-per-hour winds, just shy of a Category 5 storm. The dangerous hurricane made it largely impossible for authorities to begin to assess the damage from the storm, but it's already clear that Ian will go down as one of the most destructive storms in Florida's history. NBC's Chris Pallone is in Tampa this morning with an update, new at 6.
When Ian arrived in southwest Florida, it came with a vengeance.
Oh my gosh.
The hardest hit areas all located close to Cayo Costa, where the eye made landfall Wednesday afternoon. Its intensity and duration has initially prevented a full accounting of what's been lost.
We don't even know exactly what we faced just yet. We know we've been hit very hard.
Whoa. Ian roared ashore, packing 155-mile-per-hour winds, just shy of a Category 5. But it was the storm surge in places like Naples and Fort Myers that did so much of the damage, leaving entire neighborhoods underwater and cars bobbing down the street. In Naples, firefighters scrambled to salvage their gear when their fire station flooded. Ian even spawned tornadoes as it approached.
All of a sudden, I felt something and then heard like a train coming right through the house.
The storm's fierce winds even pushed the waters of Tampa Bay out into the Gulf of Mexico, exposing the bed below. Now, as people in other parts of Florida and the Southeast prepare for Ian's arrival, the state's governor tries to put it all in perspective.
At a minimum, it's going to be a very strong Category 4 that's going to rank as one of the top 5 hurricanes to ever hit the Florida Peninsula.
And it's not done yet. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Tampa.
And 3 central New Yorkers are there right now, hunkering down on Marco Island, right near where the eye made landfall. One was there for a family wedding and couldn't leave last week because of COVID. The other 2 are on what is turning out to be a very memorable anniversary trip. They've been friends for more than 3 decades, but this trip they moved furniture upstairs, filled buckets with water, stocked up on snacks, and secured their hurricane shutters. We've been staying in touch with Lisa Dillon and Jimmy and Kathy Piccola, and you can hear more on their story right now on our website, WKTV.com. And check out these images here. NASA provided update pictures of Hurricane Ian as it appears from space. These images were released yesterday and taken from cameras aboard the International Space Station. Check out how huge that eye is right there. As we've been reporting, Hurricane Ian remains a tropical storm this morning, with winds pretty strong at this point still. A Clinton man is in some pretty serious trouble right now. Police say he drove his minivan into and through a business in New Hartford. Check this out right here. New Hartford police say 53-year-old
Welcome back. Looking at Hurricane Ian right now, it has dropped down to just a tropical storm due to 65 miles per hour wind speeds, that being in the tropical storm category. Still in central Florida, but it is going to move up to the Carolinas, and depending on how far it does move up and how strong it continues to be, there is a very small chance we could be seeing some scattered showers, especially south of the Mohawk Valley on Saturday. But otherwise, we are going to be seeing a little bit extra cloud cover from now Tropical Storm Ian on Saturday. So if you did want to spend time outside, I would say yes for today and tomorrow. It's even going to be a little bit warmer tomorrow than today, but still pretty nice fall days. And as for Saturday, at this point, we are just still tracking to see if we could be getting a few scattered showers, but it does look like a very low chance for this. We are also going to warm up into the weekend as well. So temperatures today just in the 50s, but we will be in the low 60s tomorrow and in the mid 60s for the weekend. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. After a 2-year...
Central New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are tracking cooler weather this morning as well as cloudy skies, but the sun will come back in for today. Let's take a look now at the Cavvy Tower camera overlooking the city of Utica. Once again, cloudy skies and pretty chilly this morning as all of our temperatures are in the 40s. But the good news is that we are finally dried out. So taking a look now at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, we are tracking dry conditions after a couple of rainy days. This is all due to that cold front and and low pressure system moving out and high pressure approaching us from the west. The only thing about today, though, it is still going to be a little bit chilly and breezy. We look to warm up tomorrow and into the weekend. But according to our sky watchers this morning, we are in the 40s, 42 degrees in Old Forge and 45 degrees in Westdale. And looking to the south, we have 46 degrees in Cooperstown and in Milford. Our high temperature today will be in the upper 50s, so not really getting too high up there. Our average high for this year is 65, so we will be below average and a little bit chilly and breezy. It also does get pretty cool overnight tonight. Our overnight lows are going to be in the mid to upper 30s. So because of this, the National Weather Service has put a frost advisory in effect for all of central New York, as well as a freeze warning in effect for northern Herkimer County from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. early tomorrow morning. Frost and freeze conditions can kill crops and vegetation, so just be prepared for this for tonight. Frost is definitely likely overnight into tomorrow morning. But tomorrow we will warm up even a little bit more than today. Nice day to spend outside for the next couple of days, or on your patio, go for a walk, get some fresh air. For today and tomorrow, we are tracking dry conditions with sunshine. I'm only saying maybe for Saturday because at this point there is a very small chance we could be seeing a few scattered showers if Hurricane Ian does reach us. So we are keeping an eye out on that. But so far, Saturday looks mostly dry, but mostly cloudy due to a little bit extra cloud cover from Hurricane Ian. We will really warm up into the weekend with highs in the 60s, and we will be seeing more sun and make a return on Sunday, with dry weather even continuing into the middle of next week. But as for today, clouds look to decrease for sunshine, breezy conditions, and highs in the upper 50s. And as for tonight, a frost or freeze is definitely possible, so just keep that in mind for tonight to make preparation. Our overnight lows are going to be in the mid to upper 30s. Tomorrow, we will see a little bit extra high-level clouds in the air, but it is going to warm up a little bit more with some sunshine, highs in the low 60s. And then heading into Saturday, clouds will increase due to Hurricane Ian kind of moving up off the coast. As of right now, looking mostly dry. There could be a few showers, especially south of the Mohawk Valley, but we are keeping an eye out on that. And as of right now, it looks dry with some sun coming in later in the day on Saturday. As for today, we are starting out with clouds this morning. Clouds will decrease for sunshine. Highs are going to reach the upper 50s, and it is going to be breezy with that freeze and frost conditions possible overnight tonight. So tomorrow we will warm up a little bit more than today to the 60s. A little bit extra cloud cover on Saturday, maybe a few isolated showers because of, at this point, Tropical Storm Ian, but sun comes in for the middle of next week.
So a chance of frost tonight.
Tonight, yes. So definitely make preparations. Overnight lows will be in the mid 30s.
Hannah, thanks. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Gary Libitor. A lot to get to this morning, but first, we want to get a check of your forecast. Meteorologist Hannah Evans joining us from the Weather Center with a look at what we can expect on this Thursday, and as we just mentioned, a nice dry day ahead.
Yes, so we will start out with clouds, but sun will come in, and we do look to remain dry even through the weekend into the middle of next week.
You said sun.
Yes, some sun.
About time, right?
Yes, about time after three days of gloomy weather. So let's take a look now at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. At this point, we are tracking dry conditions across our area thanks to high pressure coming in. But today is still going to be a little bit chilly. We are starting out in the 40s this morning, just in the mid 50s around lunch, and our high temperature today will be in the upper 50s. It also is going to be a little bit breezy, but we do look to warm up for the weekend. So today, finally dry with some sunshine after a couple days of gloomy weather and rain. But tonight into early tomorrow morning, frost and freeze conditions are possible, so keep that in mind. But overall, we will warm up for the weekend with an overall pretty nice weekend ahead. So for today, we are tracking a decrease in cloud cover, highs in the upper 50s with breezy conditions. They will be talking a little bit more about the possible frost and freeze tonight coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Anna, thanks. Devastation from Hurricane Ian will begin to be seen across Florida as the light comes up. Officials in Washington are taking an all-hands-on-deck approach. Today, President Biden will visit the FEMA headquarters for an update as storm damage is expected to be catastrophic. They, along with the National Guard, are already on the ground and ready to respond to those in need. NBC's Bree Jackson has been looking into this overnight and has the latest for us now from Capitol Hill.
Hurricane Ian slamming Florida, flooding roads, knocking out power to millions, and wreaking havoc on people's lives.
Yeah, I screwed up, but gotta do what I gotta do with the reality that I have, which is get the hell out of that house.
It's my home. It's the only thing I have. I mean, and my mother, you know, I mean, if that goes, then what do you do?
Ian made landfall as a Category 4 storm, the 5th strongest in U.S. history.
This is going to be a storm we talk about for many years to come.
Warranting an all-hands-on-deck response. Officials say that includes 30,000 linemen to restore power, 7,000 National Guard troops to help with cleanup, 1,600 high-water vehicles for rescue efforts.
This level of interagency coordination will not stop as we prepare for the historic and the catastrophic impacts that we are already beginning to see.
President Biden continues to keep a close eye on the storm and says long-term assistance will also be available.
When the storm passes, the federal government's going to be there to help you recover.
Congress is working to pass budget legislation that includes recovery aid for Floridians impacted the most.
The bipartisan government funding bill the Senate is on track to pass this week will ensure the Federal Disaster Relief Fund is fully resourced at this critical moment.
With Ian continuing on its destructive path, governors in several southeastern states are now declaring a state of emergency. President Biden also warned oil and gas companies against increasing prices. A spokesperson for the American Petroleum Institute pushed back, saying prices are determined by market forces, not individual companies. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for NBC News.
And coming up this morning on Today, there will be live coverage from across the state of Florida after Ian, one of the most powerful hurricanes to strike the U.S. in decades, has gone through. NBC's Lester Holt reports from Bradenton with live reports from reporters on the ground in Sarasota, Jacksonville, Orlando, and Tampa. Again, this all starts at 7 right here on WKTV NBC. We're now getting a better look at the Rome budget proposal by Rome's mayor in the...
Welcome back. We will remain on the cooler side today with below average temperatures. Highs will just be in the low 50s in the North Country. We will be in the mid 50s in the Mohawk Valley, some areas in the upper 50s, and in the mid 50s in the southern valleys. But good news is that the sun will come back in and we do start to warm up into the weekend. But today we are going to be a little bit breezy as well, with calmer winds coming in tomorrow and Saturday, and then getting a little bit breezy again for the end of the weekend on Sunday. So tonight it also is going to remain a bit chilly. Tonight there is definitely the possibility to see some frost, maybe even some freeze in some areas like in the North Country. So keep that in mind and prepare for that tonight into tomorrow morning. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. In this morning's Medical Minute, veteran journalist...
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting out a bit cool this morning with some clouds, but we will warm up and see sunshine today. So let's take a look at the Cavie Tower camera overlooking the city of Utica. Mostly cloudy to start here this morning, and once again a bit chilly. Temperatures in the 50s, but we will remain a little bit chilly today. Highs will reach the upper 50s, but the good news is that the sun comes back in for a little while. So as of right now on our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, we are tracking dry conditions. That is because that cold front and that low pressure system has since moved out, and now high pressure is approaching us from the west. Once again, the only thing is that it is going to remain a little bit chilly today and just be a little bit breezy, but we will warm up over the next few days. According to our Skywatchers this morning, we are all in the 40s, 42 degrees in Old Forge and 48 degrees in Clinton. And looking to the south, we have 46 degrees in Milford and in Cooperstown. The high temperature today is in the upper 50s, which is below average for this time of year, and it also is going to remain a bit chilly overnight. So overnight lows fall into the mid to upper 30s tonight, and because of that, the National Weather Service has put all of central New York under a frost advisory, as well as northern Herkimer County under a freeze warning from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. early tomorrow morning. So keep that in mind and take preparations for that, because in frost and freeze conditions, crops and vegetation can die. So just keep that in mind for tonight. It is going to be around that temperature that we could be seeing some frost and maybe even some freeze conditions. But for today, through the next couple of days, pretty nice days to spend outside. If you go on your patio, get some fresh air, go for a walk or a run. Today and tomorrow look very nice, a little bit warmer tomorrow than today with some sunshine though. As for Saturday, I'm only saying maybe as of right now because we are going to be seeing extra cloud cover because of Hurricane Ian. There also is a possibility to see a few scattered showers from Hurricane Ian if it does last up into our area. So we are keeping an eye out on that. But at this point, a very small chance of rain on Saturday. It just looks like we are going to be mostly cloudy left over from Hurricane Ian. And the sunshine returns on Sunday. For the middle of next week, it will last till. So for today, we are just tracking some clouds this morning. It is going to remain breezy, a little bit chilly today with highs in the upper 50s, but clouds make way for sunshine for the afternoon. And tonight, there is a possibility for frost and freeze conditions as overnight lows fall into the mid to upper 30s. Tomorrow, we will warm up a little bit more, seeing a little bit of some upper level clouds, highs in the low 60s. And then heading into Saturday, really start to see an increase in cloud cover for cloudy skies on Saturday due to the remnants of Hurricane Ian. Small chance of some scattered showers south of the Mohawk Valley, but we are keeping an eye on that. Just depends how strong and how far it lasts up the coast. But for today, tracking dry conditions, sunshine coming in later, as well it is going to be a little bit breezy, and frost and freeze conditions are possible overnight. But we will warm up a little bit more tomorrow with highs in the low 60s. That increase in cloud cover on Saturday due to Hurricane Ian, but we will warm up over the weekend, and the sunshine looks to last into the middle of next week, Gary.
It's almost October. Those overnight temperatures pretty low.
Yes, they're going to start getting pretty low as well.
That's for sure. Sad to say.
Sad to say.
Hannah, thanks. Apple is cutting down. Thank you for joining us at 7 a.m. here on the CW11. I'm Gary Libator. We have a lot to get to this morning, including that breaking news as Hurricane Ian continues across the Florida. First, though, we want to get a check of your Storm Tracker 2 forecast here locally. Meteorologist Hannah Evans joining us with what we need to know to start our Thursday. Good morning.
Good morning, Gary. So today starts our first day of dry weather, and we look to be dry even until the middle of next week.
Wow, a long stretch.
Yes, long stretch after a couple of rainy days.
So get some stuff done around the yard over the next week because you never know.
Yes, you never know. So let's take a look now at the bus stop forecast. If you are heading out to the bus stop this morning, it is chilly with temperatures in the 40s and mostly cloudy skies, but by the afternoon we will be in the 50s and starting to see some sun. As for today, clouds will decrease for sunshine, a little bit breezy with highs in the upper 50s. And tonight, there is the likeliness of seeing some frost and freeze conditions as overnight lows reach the mid 30s. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast, never more than 10 minutes away. Hurricane Ian slammed into the Florida coastline Wednesday, packing 155-mile-per-hour winds, just shy of a Category 5 storm. The dangerous hurricane made it largely impossible for authorities to begin to assess the damage from the storm, but it's already clear that Ian will go down as one of the most destructive storms in Florida's history. NBC's Chris Pallone is in Tampa this morning with an update.
When Ian arrived in southwest Florida, it came with a vengeance.
Oh my gosh.
The hardest hit areas all located close to Cayo Costa, where the eye made landfall Wednesday afternoon. Its intensity and duration has initially prevented a full accounting of what's been lost.
We don't even know exactly what we faced just yet. We know we've been hit very hard.
Whoa. Ian roared ashore, packing 155-mile-per-hour winds, just shy of a Category 5. But it was the storm surge in places like Naples and Fort Myers that did so much of the damage, leaving entire neighborhoods underwater and cars bobbing down the street. In Naples, firefighters scrambled to salvage their gear when their fire station flooded. Ian even spawned tornadoes as it approached.
All of a sudden, I felt something and then heard like a train coming right through the house.
The storm's fierce winds even pushed the waters of Tampa Bay out into the Gulf of Mexico, exposing the bed below. Now, as people in other parts of Florida and the Southeast prepare for Ian's arrival, the state's governor tries to put it all in perspective.
At a minimum, it's going to be a very strong Category 4 that's going to rank as one of the top 5 hurricanes to ever hit the Florida Peninsula.
And it's not done yet. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Tampa.
And 3 central New Yorkers are there right now on Marco Island, right near where the eye of the hurricane made landfall. One was there for a family wedding and couldn't leave last week because of COVID. The other two are on what is turning out to be a very memorable anniversary trip. They've been all friends for more than 3 decades. This trip, well, they moved furniture in their home down there. They filled buckets with water, stocked up on snacks, and secured their hurricane shutters. We have been staying in touch with Lisa Dillon and Jim and Kathy Piccola from right here in the Utica area. You can hear more on their story right now on WKTV.com. And check out these images. NASA provided updated pictures of Hurricane Ian as it appears from space. The images were released yesterday and taken from cameras on board the International Space Station. Check out the large size of that eye of that hurricane. And as we've been reporting, Ian remains a tropical storm right now as it moves across Florida. A Clinton man is in some pretty serious trouble.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good morning, everybody. We are tracking some clouds this morning, and it is a bit chilly, but the sun will come in for later on today. So let's take a look at our CATV tower camera overlooking the city of Utica. Cloudy skies and temperatures in the 40s, so cool to start. We will only rise to the upper 50s, but the good news is that the rainy weather is over. Today is the first day of our dry stretch. This is our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar tracking no precipitation. That is because there is an area of high pressure approaching us, and that will be moving towards us throughout the next couple of days. But as for today, still a bit chilly and a little bit breezy, but the sun will come back in. According to our sky watchers, we are in the 40s this morning, just 44 degrees in Inlet and 47 degrees in New Hartford. And looking to the south, 46 degrees in Cooperstown and in Milford. And our high temperature today will just be in the upper 50s, which is below average, but we do look to warm up for the weekend. It is also going to be very chilly tonight. Overnight lows are going to fall into the mid to upper 30s. So because of this, the National Weather Service has put a frost advisory in effect for all of central New York, as well as a freeze warning that is in effect for northern Herkimer County from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. early tomorrow morning. Frost and freeze conditions that happen tonight could kill crops and vegetation, so make sure you have your preparations ready for tonight. Definitely a possibility of temperatures falling just around freezing. But a pretty nice day for the next couple of days. Tomorrow, Friday, or today and tomorrow, yes, we are going to be seeing sunshine. A little bit extra cloud cover on Saturday. I'm only saying maybe because there is a possibility we could be seeing a few showers from Hurricane Ian, but it is looking unlikely at this point. We are just going to be seeing extra cloud cover as it does move up the coast, and sunshine returns on Sunday. Sunshine looks to last until the middle of the week, and we will warm up over the weekend as well. Today looks to be like the last chilly day for the next couple of days. So on our skycast, clouds will decrease for sunshine, breezy conditions, highs in the upper 50s, and tonight frost and freeze conditions are likely as overnight lows fall into the mid to upper 30s. As for tomorrow, a little bit extra upper level clouds. We are going to be a little bit warmer today with highs in the low 60s. And then heading into Saturday, an increase in cloud cover due to Hurricane Ian. At this point, Tropical Storm Ian kind of moving up off the coast. We could be seeing a few showers, especially south of the Mohawk Valley, but it looks unlikely at this point. So for today, expect a decrease in cloud cover. Highs in the upper 50s with breezy conditions, and tonight frost and freeze conditions are possible as our low temperatures fall into the mid 30s. We are going to warm up a little bit more tomorrow, a little bit extra cloud cover on Saturday, and the dry weather looks to last until the middle of next week.
Some breaking news out of Washington at this hour as the hurricane, not tropical storm Ian, still not entirely out of the picture in Florida. President Biden has already just approved a disaster declaration for the entire state. That will make funding available to certain Florida residents and includes temporary housing, house repairs, and low-cost loans to help with what is expected to be a tough recovery down there. The White House says the federal aid will also be available for other emergency protective measures, as well as debris removal and other programs to help business owners and residents. Now, Ian had neared a Category 5 hurricane approaching Florida, but fell to tropical storm status early this morning. Still, it's brought devastating flooding throughout the state and strong winds that damaged buildings. NBC's Chris Pallone reports now from Tampa.
Search and rescue teams are now scouring the hardest hit areas of southwest Florida after Hurricane Ian pounded the area starting yesterday afternoon. They're going out to places like Naples and Fort Myers, Sanibel Island, trying to see if there are any people who are still trapped who need to be rescued, getting a sense of the sheer destruction that happened in the afternoon and evening hours overnight. Obviously, Ian came on shore with ferocity, bringing 150-mile-per-hour winds in that storm surge. We've seen so many remarkable videos of the Gulf of Mexico just inundating coastal towns in southwest Florida. And so the search is on to see whether there are people who need help or not. But this is still an ongoing situation. Here in Tampa, things are relatively calm. The city said that people can come back to their homes here. But in Orlando, out towards the Space Coast and up towards Jacksonville, they are getting inundated with rain today. We're seeing lots of flash flooding, people reporting their homes, their cars, their businesses are being inundated. The governor said it could be a 500-year flood event, and the storm will continue to move northward. The governors of the states of Georgia, North and South Carolina, and Virginia have already declared states of emergency as they fear what's coming for them with Ian. That's a story from Tampa. I'm Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Chris, thanks. Meteorologist Hannah Evans is tracking the remnants of Hurricane Ian as it just leaves Florida. Now many wondering if it could come up and impact us.
So at this point, it's a very low chance, but there still is a chance to see a few scattered showers south of the Mohawk Valley on Saturday. So here's a look at what Hurricane Ian is doing right now. At this point, it is a tropical storm. It has downgraded, but it could become a Category 1 hurricane once again as it heads off the coast towards Charleston, and it will continue to move up towards us to the north, but at that point it will become a low pressure system and then go into depression. But we could be seeing a few scattered showers reaching the southern part of our viewing area on Saturday, but at this point very low chance of that. It just looks like it is going to be mostly cloudy. But as for today, we are tracking dry weather with the clouds continuing to decrease with sunshine for the day. Frost and freeze conditions are possible tonight for early tomorrow morning, so keep that in mind and get ready for any preparation you need to do for that. But overall, looking ahead, pretty nice weekend. Some clouds on Saturday due to the remnants of Hurricane Ian, and on Sunday the sunshine returns. But as for today, clouds will continue to decrease. Highs will reach the upper 50s. It will be a little bit breezy, and then we'll be talking a little bit more about the weekend and the possibility of frost tonight coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. Oneida County fire investigators are trying to figure out what's
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are tracking clouds decreasing this afternoon, as well as cooler weather and breezy conditions with temperatures at this point just in the 50s. So let's take a look now at our CAVV tower camera overlooking the city of Utica. Still seeing a little bit of cloud cover, but clouds will continue to decrease into the afternoon and evening, but it will remain chilly and breezy for the rest of the day. But finally, we are tracking dry weather. This is our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 at Doppler radar. After a couple of gloomy days with some rain, we are getting a really nice stretch of dry weather coming in up until the middle of next week. This is all due to an area of high pressure that is moving in from the west, allowing us to get this beautiful weather. But as for today, it still is a bit chilly and breezy. We will start to warm up for tomorrow and over the weekend. According to our sky watchers here at noon, we are on the 50s for the most part, except for Old Forge at just 47 degrees, Ilion at 57 degrees, and Cassville at 50 degrees. And once again, the high temperatures today will remain right in the upper 50s, so a bit chilly and below average for this time of year, but it is starting to get pretty nice out with the sun, and we will warm up over the next couple of days. It also is going to remain pretty chilly tonight. Because of this, the National Weather Service has put out a frost advisory for all of central New York and a freeze warning for northern Herkimer County. That goes into effect at 1 a.m. overnight tonight until 8 a.m. early tomorrow morning. Frost and freeze conditions can kill crops and vegetation, so make sure you prepare your garden or anything outside tonight, because around freezing temperatures are possible with our overnight low in the mid-50s. So keep that in mind for tonight. It is going to be a bit chilly with the possibility of some frost, but looking ahead into the weekend, it is going to get a little bit warmer warmer. Saturday, it is going to be mostly cloudy due to some cloud cover from the remnants of what was Hurricane Ian. We could also be seeing a few scattered showers south of the Mohawk Valley, where we are keeping an eye out on that. As of right now, there is a very low chance for that. And the sun returns on Sunday, with dry weather continuing into the middle of the week. So let's take a look at everything on the Skycast. As for the rest of the afternoon, we will continue to see those clouds decrease, see some sunshine, highs just in the upper 50s, and tonight, once again, frost and freeze conditions are possible as overnight lows fall into the mid to upper 30s. Tomorrow, we will be seeing a little bit extra of upper level cloud cover, but it is going to get a little bit warmer with highs reaching the low 60s, and then heading into Saturday, some extra cloud cover does come in once again from the remnants of Hurricane Ian to the south of us, seeing some cloud cover from that. There's a possibility to see a few scattered showers south, but it looks like it does just miss us. As for today, though, we are tracking once again sunshine, finally a sunny day with highs in the upper 50s. It is a little bit chilly because it is still breezy, and tonight a low in the mid 30s. A frost is possible as well as freeze conditions, so just keep that in mind for tonight. And as we head into tomorrow, we will warm up a little bit more with some sunshine. We really start to warm up over the weekend with a little bit extra cloud cover on Saturday, but we do remain dry into the middle of next week. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. Veteran journalist Kate. Welcome back. We begin this half hour again in Florida with Hurricane Ian's devastating march across the state. It is now a tropical depression as it is east of Orlando. The monster storm causing widespread destruction all across Florida and leaving millions without power. NBC's Kerry Sanders is in Punta Gorda with more on the storm's effects and the great heroism that was seen during the height of the hurricane.
Slamming into Florida overnight, Hurricane Ian left communities like Sanibel Island underwater, damaged, and in the dark. Florida's Gulf coastline bearing the brunt of the storm. The wind and rain so dangerous in Punta Gorda, I had to grab onto this street sign just to stay on my feet. Cape Coral also severely impacted by Ian, making it difficult for emergency crews to reach those who did not evacuate.
The minute that the winds subside to below 45 miles an hour, our crews are going to be responding out there, clearing the roads to make sure that our first responders can get to those individuals that are trapped in their homes and in their vehicles.
Through all of the uncertainty,
we're going to keep moving in all the affected areas.
Neighbors, friends, even complete strangers doing whatever they can to help. Rescues onshore and on land, some even crossing state lines to pitch in.
We had all these power workers, these line workers from all these different states. I saw them from Texas, Louisiana.
New York's National Guard sending 2 heavy lift helicopters and a contingent of soldiers to assist with rescue efforts. The Coast Guard assembling a small armada of ships for offshore rescue missions. In hard-hit Naples, firefighters helping a woman escape floodwaters. But the fire department also thanking local jet skiers for helping out, writing, "Sometimes we need a ride to the rescue ourselves." In Bonita Beach, one good Samaritan braving the elements to save a cat trapped outside on an air conditioner. In St. Petersburg, staff at a botanical gardens hunkering down with flamingos to see them through the storm.
NBC's Kerry Sanders reporting, and obviously a lot of folks wondering if the remnants of Hurricane Ian will make their way up here.
It's very not looking likely. The only thing that we're going to see is cloudy skies on Saturday just due to the low pressure system moving up the coast. So as of right now, it is Tropical Storm Ian. It is just off the coast of Florida. It is kind of going to move up north towards the Charleston area. At that point, could be Category 1 once again. It will continue to go into depression and just become a low pressure system as it continues to move north. So for us here in Utica, it is possible to see cloud cover on Saturday and very low chance, but we could be seeing a few scattered showers, especially south south of the Mohawk Valley on Saturday, but nothing widespread, nothing severe at all. Today marks our first day with a dry stretch of weather. Sunshine makes a return as well. A pretty nice day, though it is a little bit chilly, and it will remain cool overnight with frost and freeze conditions possible tonight and early tomorrow, so make sure you have your preparations ready for that. But looking ahead to the weekend, looking pretty nice. Saturday looks mostly cloudy, but Sunday the sunshine looks to return. So for today, clouds will continue to decrease. We are seeing sunshine with highs in the upper 50s. Then we'll be talking a little bit more about the weekend and the frost forecast coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Hannah, thanks. Rome police are searching.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Hannah Evans.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are seeing sunshine here this afternoon as well as dry weather, but it is a bit chilly with temperatures in the 50s. Let's take a look at the CAVI tower camera overlooking the city of Utica. We are still seeing some cloud cover, but clouds will continue to decrease, but it will remain on the cooler side today. But the good news is that we are starting today dry, and it is our first day of this nice stretch of dry weather coming in for at least until the middle of next week. We are tracking dry conditions on your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Still a little bit cool and breezy for the rest of the day, but the good news is that we will start to warm up into the weekend, and high pressure looks to come in, allowing for dry weather up until the middle of next week. According to our sky watchers, once again, mainly in the 50s, with the exception of Old Forge, still at 47 degrees here at noon, 50 degrees in Cassville, and 55 degrees in Mohawk. So this is below average for this time of year, but we will start to warm up once again over the next couple of days. It will also remain pretty cool overnight tonight, with overnight lows just above freezing. So because of this, the National Weather Service has put a frost advisory in effect for all of central New York, as well as a freeze warning in effect for northern Herkimer County from 1 a.m. early tomorrow morning until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The frost and freeze conditions can kill crops and vegetation, so definitely make your preparations tonight. Definitely possible to see some frost and maybe even a freeze overnight. But looking ahead to the weekend, we will start to warm up a little bit. Saturday, we are going to be seeing cloudy skies. This is due to the remnants of, at this point, Tropical Storm Ian as it goes up the coast. Could be seeing a little bit extra cloud cover from that. But for Sunday, the sun looks to come back in. Temperatures look to be in the 60s over the weekend. So let's take a look at everything on our Skycast. As for right now, we are tracking those clouds to continue to decrease. Breezy conditions with highs in the upper 50s. And once again tonight, frost and freeze conditions are possible, so keep that in mind overnight, with an overnight low in the mid-30s. As for tomorrow, some upper level clouds do come in. Highs will reach the low 60s, so a little bit warmer than today, but clouds will continue to decrease into Saturday as Tropical Storm Ian at this point kind of moves up the coast as a low pressure system. This brings in cloud cover to our area, possibly a few scattered showers south of the Mohawk Valley, but we do look to stay clear of this as of right now. For today, highs are going to be in the upper 50s, a little bit breezy, but the sun looks to make a return today, and we finally are dry. Tonight, frost and freeze conditions are possible, so keep that in mind. Dry conditions last until the middle of next week. They look mostly dry on Saturday with cloudy skies. As for Sunday, the sun comes back in. We start to warm up again. And through the middle of next week, sunshine remains. Back to you, Gary.
Anna, thanks. Hurricane Ian, now a tropical depression, and continues barreling across Florida's east coast. President Biden is vowing to help in any way possible and will be visiting FEMA's headquarters this afternoon. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington with more.
Hurricane Ian slamming Florida, flooding roads, knocking out power to millions, and wreaking havoc on people's lives.
Yeah, I screwed up, but gotta do what I gotta do with the reality that I have, which is get the hell out of that house.
Ian made landfall as a Category 4 storm, the 5th strongest in U.S. history.
This is going to be a storm we talk about for many years to come.
Warranting an all-hands-on-deck response. Officials say that includes 30,000 linemen to restore power, 7,000 National Guard troops to help with cleanup, 1,600 high-water vehicles for rescue efforts.
Our priority today is life safety. We want to make sure that we have as many crews out there supporting the people that still need help being rescued, and we're going to continue that throughout the day. All the while, we're still preparing for what may happen on the eastern coast of Florida.
President Biden continues to keep a close eye on the storm and says long-term assistance will also be available.
When the storm passes, the federal government's going to be there to help you recover.
Congress is working to pass budget legislation that includes recovery aid for Floridians impacted the most.
The bipartisan government funding bill the Senate is on track to pass this week will ensure the Federal Disaster Relief Fund is fully resourced at this critical moment.
With Ian continuing on its destructive path, governors in several southeastern states are now declaring a state of emergency. President Biden also warned oil and gas companies against increasing prices. A spokesperson for the American Petroleum Institute pushed back, saying prices are determined by market forces, not individual companies. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Bree, thanks, and stay with us. More news is up next.
And now a tropical storm is pounding Florida today after it made landfall as one of the most powerful storms to hit the U.S. in decades. Rescuers are now converging on the area hardest hit by the storm. Authorities fear hundreds could be dead. Chris Pallone has our top story from Tampa tonight.
Even though Ian weakened overnight, the storm still proving to be dangerous as it moved across Florida, hitting Jacksonville and flooding parts of the Orlando area where firefighters have continued to make rescues. Wednesday, Ian hit the west coast of Florida as a powerful Category 4 hurricane. Storm surge pouring into Naples, surrounding cars and homes. Even a firehouse was not safe from the surge. But first responders still managed to rescue one driver from floodwaters, and now the damage the storm left behind is being revealed.
You have power lines that are down, you have trees that are down, you have a lot of hazards right now.
The Sanibel Island Causeway left in pieces, one large chunk washed into the Gulf.
Lots and lots of damage. It's going to take years to recover.
Millions left without power, homes destroyed or severely damaged.
It was like snow, white. You couldn't see.
Renee Smith rode out the storm with her husband, who's paralyzed inside their 121-year-old house, which is still standing.
She saved our lives again, kept us alive. Poor old house.
Ian is not done. As it leaves Florida, it's expected to gain strength and bear down on Georgia and the Carolinas. Tonight, the efforts to find people who might have been trapped in their homes in the hardest hit areas has kicked into high gear. There are literally thousands of people conducting searches in those hard hit areas. You've got members of the National Guard, you've got members of the Coast Guard, as well as a statewide search and rescue team. One fire department in Fort Myers said that they conducted 200 water rescues overnight. Those efforts continue this evening. In Tampa, Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Now we checked back in with three Central New Yorkers who for various reasons found themselves sticking it out on Marco Island. Yesterday, Jim and Kathy Piccola and Lisa Dillon moved furniture upstairs at Dillon's condo and watched, helpless, as the bay rose several feet above its normal depth. Today, though, they shed tears of gratitude. They did lose power, but they have running water and luckily no flooding. They want to thank everyone back home for their prayers. Time now for a first look at the forecast. Let's get over to Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis and our weather. Not too bad today. Sun came out, right?
Yeah, it turned out to be a beautiful day. Clear skies tonight. That is going to lead to some frost, and I think there will be more areas that get frost this time around than what we saw about 2 weekends ago. We're talking about a frost advisory for, again, most of central New York, a freeze warning for the Adirondacks. Temperatures tonight are expected to drop into the 30s across the board. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Things are looking quiet. Current temperature is 57 degrees. We've got very dry air in place, and again, that's going to allow temperatures to cool off very quickly. Our weather headlines here for the next couple of days, we're looking at pretty quiet weather. We've got a big dome of high pressure that's going to build in, and it's going to have impacts on where Hurricane Ian goes and where that ends up. And we're going to take a look at how, if there's any chance of impact locally with that coming up. Jason, back over to you.
Bill, thank you. Still ahead on Ian. President Biden travels to FEMA headquarters For a full report on the destruction, a closer look at the federal response to the storm, that's new at 5:30. We're following breaking news into the News Channel 2 newsroom. A lawsuit filed against Oneida County District Attorney.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. A very pleasant, very fall-like day with temperatures in the 50s and low 60s. Lots of sunshine. Beautiful one out there. Let's take a look at our Cavby Tower Cam. We will be seeing a chilly night tonight with clear skies in place. These clouds that you see are going to fall apart. We're going to look at much drier weather, and also too, some of these clouds are just being caused by the heating of the day. And once the sun sets, again, skies are expected to clear out. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, all is looking quiet across the region. This is a look at expected overnight lows tonight. I'm making the call that it goes below freezing up north. Old Forge down to 30, Boonville 32, Remsen 34, Utica down to 37. Once you get in the mid-30s, patchy frost is possible, and that's why we're asking everyone across the region that you want to keep the garden going. You're going to want to bring in frost-sensitive vegetation or cover them up as we head into tonight. Richfield Springs down to 33, as well as Cooperstown and Morris. Norwich down to 34, Hamilton. An overnight low of 36 is expected. Good weather to cut the lawn, nice and comfortable. Temperatures will be in the 60s over the next couple of days, and we're expecting dry weather. Our MoCast is brought to you by Clinton Tractor. Temperatures across the area this evening: Dodgeville 60, Inlet 56, Whitesboro 58, across Southern Valleys. We've got Sherburne with 58 degrees, Cooperstown 57, and Skenevis with 59. Great weather to take the dog out for a walk. Comfortable weather, too. Temperatures will drop down into the 50s and 40s. You're going to want to grab a light jacket if you're going to be taking the dog out. And again, looking at pretty nice weather here for the next couple of days. We've got a dome of high pressure building in from the north. That's going to keep us clear. That's also going to keep the effects of Hurricane Ian to our south. This is now a hurricane most likely making landfall in South Carolina Friday afternoon. And again, the projections keep this storm to the south. However, with the newest guidance here, with the storm being a little bit stronger, longer into making landfall, that could mean we see extra clouds as we head into Saturday. Just kind of want to show you the information here for Saturday. The rain looks to be in downstate New York, but it's a close call here. We'll see some extra clouds on Saturday from Ian, but again, the majority of the effects will stay well out of our area. Tonight, patchy frosts. Again, overnight lows drop down into the mid-30s. Tomorrow, sunshine and a beautiful day. Temperatures in the low 60s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Mostly cloudy Saturday, 64. Some breeze picks up here for Sunday, but the rest of the week looks pretty quiet. Temperatures will remain in the 60s. Very consistent weather here, too. Some chilly nights ahead. And coming up in the next half hour, we're taking a look at the fall foliage. Some big changes taking place across our area.
Yeah, just starting to notice more north, but just starting to see the leaves changing around here. So, all right, thanks, Bill. Hey, with the frost expected tonight, Hurricane Ian starts coming into focus. President Biden headed to FEMA headquarters for a full report. The president receiving the on-site briefing after approving a major disaster declaration for the state of Florida, freeing up federal funds and resources. Alice Barr has the latest from Washington tonight.
You can see it across the state in the stunning images of destruction. You can hear it in the desperation of those who made it through.
My chimney came down. I was afraid it was going to come through the roof and crush me.
President Biden making it official, declaring a major disaster in the state of Florida, surging money, supplies, and people to the region.
However long it takes, we're going to be there.
The president getting a briefing at FEMA headquarters, warning that while the numbers are still unclear, Hurricane Ian could be the deadliest in Florida history.
We're hearing early reports of what may be substantial loss of life.
The FEMA administrator heading to Florida tomorrow, stressing that while Ian is now downgraded to a tropical storm, the danger has not passed.
We are expecting the storm to continue making its way to Georgia, South Carolina, and into North Carolina, maintaining tropical storm force winds, deadly storm surge, and rainfall of up to 12 inches.
The danger is real, to state the obvious. Please obey all warnings and directions from emergency officials.
The devastation so overwhelming, the National Guard is sending in nearly 5,000 troops from 4 states. Search and rescue units heading in from all over, including Miami.
I can't send a better team.
And crews rolling in from across the country to restore power to more than 2.5 million people. Americans coming together, bringing light to a state in its darkest hour. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
President Biden said he plans to go to Florida when conditions improve. A reporter covering Hurricane Ian rescued a woman who was trying to drive through severe waters in Orlando this morning. The woman was on her way to work as a nurse when she got stuck. Watch. Yeah, the reporter carried her on his back right out of the high water. Now to Naples, where a photojournalist put his camera down right in the middle of a live hit and rushes to a family carrying kids. It's not always caught on camera here, but when a photographer is the first to the scene of an emergency, you know they help if they can. That's what we do. Let's get you back to the Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. Let's step away from Ian for a moment and talk about something a little happier, some fall foliage if you plan on leaf peeping this weekend.
Yeah, we're actually going to be fortunate enough to see some very nice weather here in central New York. And if you are looking to enjoy some fall color, we're seeing the leaves change. The process has begun across the entire area. In fact, it's more than halfway turned over in the Adirondacks. So this would be a great weekend to get out and enjoy some very, very nice weather. It looks really nice on Sunday, and some clouds for Saturday, but both days should be pretty nice. I wanted to give a shout out to some new friends that I made yesterday. This is at West Canada Valley, Ride for Missing Children. Met a ton of just wonderful kids, and we definitely thank you for the support that you showed us yesterday. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It is quiet across the region. It is going to be a chilly night. We're expecting frost across a good portion of central New York, with overnight lows dropping down into the 30s. Tracking some nice weather heading into the weekend. I'm going to look at that forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Few appreciate the sacrifices of veterans as much as a fellow veteran. Over the past few weeks, several of them showed that appreciation by collecting food donations for the Utica Center for Development. Hurricane Ian leaves mass devastation in Florida and causes thousands of flight cancellations. NBC's Tom Costello has a look at the change in the skies above the Sunshine State.
Nothing brings travel to a standstill like a hurricane. In a time-lapse, Flight Radar 24 capturing the mostly empty skies over Florida, with only a handful of commercial flights staying out of harm's way, hugging the East Coast into and out of Miami. The FAA status map showing closed runways and airports from Key West to Naples, Sarasota to Tampa, to Orlando and Melbourne and Daytona Beach, leaving behind the few travelers who didn't get out in time.
We need everyone to go over to the middle of the food court area.
Yeah.
Because the airport's closing now.
Yeah.
And we're not set up as a shelter.
In Orlando, Brittany and Paul Inglesby and their baby unable to get home to Rochester.
You have a little kid with you, he takes top priority, so when he starts running low on stuff, that's when it gets kind of terrifying.
Tampa International tweeting video of the last flight out before closing down Wednesday, leaving behind some British tourists who were unable to catch an early flight home.
Had a lovely holiday, but then we were evacuated from the beach area. So we're here at least until Friday. All the hotels are full.
On Wednesday, more than 2,100 flights canceled nationwide, with most airlines waiving change or cancellation fees at least through Friday. This morning, Tampa International remains empty. Managers plan to assess the condition of the runways and terminal, then set a reopening timeline. CEO Joe Lopano.
I know you've got to do a full evaluation today of the condition of the airport and the runways. How soon do you think you might open?
There's a lot that has to take place once we assess the airfield. So we think the earliest we could open is a Friday.
That was Tom Costello reporting. 59 degrees atop Smith Hill and 54 in Cooperstown. Your full Storm Tracker 2 forecast is next. Thanks for watching the Live at 5 News Hour.
most dependable weather team. Here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We continue to track nice weather here in central New York and some frost that'll be taking place tonight with clear skies and a very fall-like and cool afternoon. Temperatures are going to nosedive tonight. Let's take a live look at our Cooperstown camera. The sun is getting lower in the sky here. Sunset nowadays is about 6:45 and getting earlier and earlier very quickly. It's that time of year. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar is looking quiet. We are holding on to clear skies tonight, and some frost is expected across central New York, especially outside of the Mohawk Valley. So if you have any plants, you're going to want to bring them in tonight that are sensitive to frost or cover them up. The weather cooperates yet again for high school football tomorrow night. Should be a nice evening to get out and enjoy a game. Wear a sweatshirt if you're going to be in the stands. Temperatures are going to be very comfortable for the players. We'll be in the low 50s at kickoff and into the upper 40s by halftime. Not too much wind is to be expected over the next couple of days, though Sunday we could have a breeze. The weather looking relatively quiet, all thanks to high pressure building in. A lovely evening, a cool evening across central New York. Gray checking in with 55, Forestport 51, Old Forge, Bill with 52, Curtis Corners 55, across the Southern Valleys. Hartwick 53, Helen and Cassville 55, and Mark and Milford checking in with 50 degrees. A dome of high pressure is driving our weather locally. This is going to help keep out Hurricane Ian or any of the leftovers with that. This storm, Category 1 storm, making landfall in South Carolina Friday afternoon and then slowly jogging to the north. And again, the latest projections with this bring the rain as far north as downstate New York. However, we've been watching a trend here that the rain is lifting a little bit further north. And again, we're going to see a close call for Saturday in terms of clouds and rain. It's going to be a very weak system, so I don't want to mislead anybody into thinking that this could have any major impacts in our weather. This is mainly clouds and maybe a shower for Saturday. And again, we're not expecting hardly any wind with this. Again, it's going to weaken a lot by the time it heads anywhere into the mid-Atlantic. Tonight, clear skies. Overnight lows drop down into the 30s. Some patchy frost tomorrow morning. A few high clouds arrive for tomorrow. Otherwise, a nice day and comfortable with temperatures in the upper 50s to low 60s. And again, some cloud cover from the remnants of Ian. And on Saturday, temperatures climb into the 50s to low 60s. Patchy frost tonight down to 36. Tomorrow, sunshine, temperatures in the low 60s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Nice stretch of weather here over the next 7 days. Again, mostly cloudy skies Saturday, 64. Mostly sunny on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Consistent temperatures here, too. We're in the low to mid 60s during the day and into the upper 30s to low 40s at night. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we're taking a look at the best places to check out some fall color as we head into the weekend. Stay with us.
Is off tonight. Tropical storm Ian continues to make its way across the state of Florida, now back to a hurricane, and it's leaving a path of destruction in its wake. President Biden earlier today visited the FEMA headquarters to discuss a game plan for the state's recovery process. It is your top story on this Thursday evening. Now, early this morning, the president first approved a disaster declaration for Florida before he appeared at FEMA headquarters. Hurricane Ian was downgraded to a tropical storm this morning, but in the last hour, re-strengthened back to a Cat 1 hurricane. The president says it could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history. He's been on the phone with Governor Ron DeSantis and various Florida mayors and commissioners about their worries. Both the president and governor are continuing to ask Floridians to heed warnings from their local officials and do not go outside unless they absolutely have to. We checked back in with 3 Central New Yorkers who for various reasons found themselves sticking it out on Marco Island. Yesterday, Jim and Kathy Piccola and Lisa Dillon moved furniture upstairs in Dillon's condo and watched helplessly as the bay rose several feet above its normal depth. Well, today, they shed tears of gratitude. They did lose power, but they still have running water. And while the storm was relentless and terrifying last night, the water stayed out of the condo. Their hearts ache for those elsewhere who on the island were not so lucky. They want to thank everyone back home for their prayers and all of the text messages. Let's get a first look at the forecast tonight at 6. Here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Our weather locally looks very quiet. The clear skies and light winds in place will bring a frost to a good portion of central New York tonight. I think more frost than what we saw last Saturday. A frost advisory is in effect for all of central New York, a freeze warning for the Adirondacks. That just means temperatures will be colder and will be below freezing in the Adirondacks, while we'll be very close to freezing elsewhere. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Things look quiet. Our temperature is 56 degrees. We have a west wind at 9 miles an hour. The winds will become light as we head into tonight. With this cooler weather in place, the leaves are going to be changing very quickly. You're already noticing the color starting to come out. We are near or just past the midpoint in the Adirondacks, and the higher elevations are quickly seeing bright colors. And we should have nice weather if you want to take a look at the fall color heading into this weekend. We're mostly sunny this evening, and again, we cool off very quickly, especially after sunset. We're tracking Hurricane Ian, and we're letting you know what effects whatsoever it'll have in central New York, and that's coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Just hours ago, a loss.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. A chilly night is expected. Clear skies, cold enough for frost. Let's take a live look outside. Our Cat B Tower Cam is looking at a setting sun to the west. Our sunset a half an hour from now, and it should be a nice one. We're looking at clear skies across the board on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. This is what we're expecting tonight for overnight lows. Many areas seeing patchy frost. In fact, a freeze. Temperatures below 32 degrees expected across the North Country. Old Forge 30, Boonville 32, Remsen down to 34. New Hartford expecting an overnight low of 37, Cooperstown 33, Oneonta 34. If you have sensitive plants that you want to keep going, keep that garden going, you're going to bring them inside or cover them up before you go to bed tonight. High school football, the weather tomorrow night looks nice for the players. Temperatures will be in the 50s at kickoff and into the 40s by halftime. Another nice night for high school games across the area. Looking to cut the lawn, got lots of options here over the next several days. Dry weather will be taking over central New York. Our MoCast is sponsored by Clinton Tractor. Skywatchers this evening in the 50s, Mohawk 57, Forestport 51 degrees, Barneveld 55. Across Southern Valleys, Eaton, Lyman with 57, Paynes Hollow 59, Milford, Mark checking in with 50 degrees. We've got a dome of high pressure that is building in and keeping our weather dry. We'll see plenty of sunshine with this heading into tomorrow. This will also keep the remnants of Hurricane Ian offshore, or at least out of central New York, I should say. This is a hurricane still. Category 1 storm making landfall in South Carolina tomorrow afternoon. And then as it encounters this area of high pressure, it is going to be stalling across the Atlantic and bringing rain as far north as downstate New York. This is a look at the projections for Saturday. And that line of rain moves into downstate. We'll see some clouds from the remnants of Ian to start the weekend, but we're thinking that's about it. And it's possible the rain jogs a little bit north, and that could bring us a few showers by Saturday. But we're going to be missing out on the brunt of this storm heading into the weekend. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast again. Clear skies tonight, frost tomorrow morning. Looks like a beautiful day tomorrow. Temperatures climb into the low 60s, and then we'll see some clouds with the remnants of Ian as we head into Saturday. Patchy frost tonight down to 36. Nice day tomorrow, sunshine, highs in the low 60s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. The high pressure system is going to hang around. The weather looks really quiet. Plenty of sunshine into early next week. Temperatures in the mid 60s, overnight lows in the upper 30s to low 40s. Jason.
Bill, thank you. Get the outdoor stuff done, right? And speaking of outdoors, the frost is joining us. This is a look tonight at Charleston, South Carolina, the calm before the storm, if you will. We will track Hurricane Ian with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis in a moment. But first, devastation in parts of Florida. We are now seeing what's left behind following Ian's wrath. At least 15 deaths have been reported, and officials fear that number could be much higher. Reporter Gloria Pazmino is in Fort Myers tonight with the latest on the rescue efforts and the mass destruction the storm has caused.
As daylight broke Thursday, it revealed catastrophic devastation in Florida in the wake of Hurricane Ian. Entire neighborhoods underwater, power lines turned down, debris scattered in streets. Residents in Florida now trying to pick up the pieces.
If I would have knew it was going to be this bad, I would have got me and my family out ahead of time.
Search and rescue crews from multiple agencies rushing to help people trapped in their homes. But in areas like Sanibel Island, it's impossible to get there by car because the causeway is the only connection to Florida's mainland, and it's now in pieces.
As you can imagine, it is pretty devastating. And what it really does is left the place almost unrecognizable in some places.
Hurricane Ian slammed Florida's southwestern coast Wednesday as a Category 4 storm, bringing life-threatening storm surge, historic flooding, and winds near 150 miles per hour. But it's not just the coast that was slammed. As the storm turned east, it dumped rain on central Florida, triggering freshwater flooding.
This could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history.
As Florida assesses the devastating damage, President Joe Biden saying the federal government will be sending funds for emergency response efforts. In Fort Myers, Florida, I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
Time for a first look at the forecast. Let's get over to Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Bill, you're tracking this tonight.
Yes, so Hurricane Ian is still a hurricane. It's Category 1 storm, and this is not done yet. It is off the coast, moving towards South Carolina. It's not a major hurricane, but it's still a Category 1 storm with winds sustained at 75 miles an hour. It's expected to make landfall over Charleston or near Charleston tomorrow afternoon. It should strengthen a little bit more before it makes landfall, and then it heads to the north. High pressure to the north will keep this storm out of central New York, at least the wind and the rain. But we will see some effects from this as we head into the start of the weekend, and I'll explain more in a little bit. We have a frost advisory in effect for central New York for tonight, a freeze warning for the Adirondacks. That means temperatures drop into the 30s, and if you have any sensitive plants, you're going to want to protect them. Either bring them indoors or cover them up. Current temperature is 43 degrees, and again, looking at dry conditions out there tonight. We're expecting overnight lows to drop down into the mid-30s with patchy frost. The weather looking pretty nice as we start the weekend. We'll have a look at that weekend forecast coming up.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. A chilly night is ahead. Well, many areas are expected to get down into the 30s. Patchy frost is expected in many spots. Not everybody gets frost, but many of us will tonight. I think the places that avoid it would be parts of the Mohawk Valley, the warmer spots in our area. Live looking outside, our Cavity Tower Cam is looking across the city of Utica. And again, it's getting cold out there tonight. Temperatures already down into the low 40s. Live look at the Yorkville Battery, Stern Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, all is looking quiet. Here's what we're expecting for overnight lows tonight. Remsen 34, Middleville down to 34, Little Falls 38, Old Forge down to 30, Boonville 32. The Adirondacks likely seeing a freeze. That's when temperatures go below 32 degrees, and that puts an end to the growing season. Across the southern valleys tonight, 33 in Richfield Springs, Herkimer down to 37, Oneonta 34, and New Hartford low temperature tonight of 37. Tomorrow night won't be quite as cold. For high school football games, the weather should be pretty nice. We're looking at dry weather. We're in the low 50s at kickoff and into the upper 40s at halftime. If you're going out to watch a game, dress nice and warm. The weather looking great for the athletes. Very comfortable weather for football. The fall color will start to emerge, as you can already see across central New York. The leaves are starting to change a little more than halfway in the Adirondacks, the higher elevations of our area. The weather should cooperate quite a bit. If you want to look at the fall color, Saturday, Sunday looking like nice days. More clouds on Saturday compared to Sunday. Sunday seeing a lot more sunshine, slightly cooler. The radar and satellite image shows high pressure taking over our weather. This is also going to keep the leftovers of Hurricane Ian to our south. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight down into the 30s. A few high clouds here for Friday. Otherwise a pretty nice day. Temperatures in the low 60s. Friday night, the clouds start to thicken up, and we're looking at generally mostly cloudy skies on Saturday. You see some rain starting to show up south of the Mohawk Valley. That is the leftovers of Hurricane Ian. Again, a very close call on Saturday. The very northern fringe of this system could give us a shower south of the Mohawk Valley. This is not expected to produce any strong winds or any of the effects that have been happening in Florida or what will be happening in South Carolina anywhere locally. Clear skies tonight, patchy frost down to 36 tomorrow. Beautiful day, highs in the low 60s, mostly sunny. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Some clouds on Saturday, maybe a sprinkle south of the valley, temperature of 64. Nice on Sunday, 62. The weather consistently mild here. Temperatures in the 60s during the day. Overnight lows in the upper 30s to low 40s. Jason.
Bill, thank you. Coming up next, a beloved coach and gym teacher from Rome, Powless. Thank you for joining us. This is a look tonight at Charleston, South Carolina, the calm before the storm, if you will. We will track Hurricane Ian with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis in a minute. But first, devastation in parts of Florida. We are now seeing what's left behind following Ian's wrath. At least 15 deaths have been reported, and officials fear that number could be much higher. Reporter Gloria Pazmino is in Fort Myers with the very latest on the rescue efforts and the mass destruction this storm has caused.
As daylight broke Thursday, it revealed catastrophic devastation in Florida in the wake of Hurricane Ian. Entire neighborhoods underwater, power lines turned down, debris scattered in streets. Residents in Florida now trying to pick up the pieces.
If I would have knew it was going to be this bad, I would have got me and my family out ahead of time.
Search and rescue crews from multiple agencies rushing to help people trapped in their homes. But in areas like Sanibel Island, it's impossible to get there by car because the causeway is the only connection to Florida's mainland, and it's now in pieces.
As you can imagine, it is pretty devastating. And what it really does is left the place almost unrecognizable in some places.
Hurricane Ian slammed Florida's southwestern coast Wednesday as a Category 4 storm, bringing life-threatening storm surge, historic flooding, and winds near 150 miles per hour. But it's not just the coast that was slammed. As the storm turned east, it dumped rain on central Florida, triggering freshwater flooding.
This could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history.
As Florida assesses the devastating damage, President Joe Biden saying the federal government will be sending funds for emergency response efforts. In Fort Myers, Florida, I'm Gloria Pazmino reporting.
We want to get a track of the storm as it stands now with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Okay, so where are we now and where's it going to go?
We're not done with Ian. It's a hurricane. It's a Category 1 storm. It's developing as it's back over the water, and it's not great news. It's not going to be as bad as it was in Florida in terms of the maximum wind, but this is still going to be a hurricane as it makes landfall again.
So what's our track looking like? It's going up to hit South Carolina next.
Yeah, the track of this is going to bring it right towards Charleston, maybe slightly to the east. In fact, the latest guidance from the National Hurricane Center brings us pretty close to Myrtle Beach. And then it continues to go northward, and as it makes landfall, it weakens. As far as our local weather is concerned, I think most of this is going to end up out of central New York as we head into the weekend, thanks to high pressure. That high pressure system is bringing us a frost tonight. Clear skies, a frost advisory in effect for all of central New York, a freeze warning in effect for the Adirondacks. These areas are expected to get below 32 degrees, so some colder weather in the Adirondacks. Current temperature is 43 degrees, clear skies out there in the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. And heading into tonight, we're expecting overnight lows to drop into the mid-30s, some patchy frost. Nice weekend ahead. We're taking a look at that as well as the latest fall foliage forecast as well, and that's coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. With the frost expected.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. It's a chilly night across central New York, isn't it? Temperatures have already dropped into the low 40s. We're expecting some patchy frost tonight. It's a live look outside, a clear view of the city of Utica from our CABV tower cam. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. All is quiet across the area. Have a look at overnight low temperatures tonight, calling for many areas to be in the mid-30s. The Adirondacks likely in the low 30s. That puts areas like Old Forge and Boonville close to a freeze tonight. Temperatures getting below 32 degrees. Middleville 34, Little Falls 38. Patchy frost is possible when temperatures get into the mid-30s, and I think that's possible in most areas. The one exception would be some of the warmer spots, including the lower elevations of the Mohawk Valley. Hamilton down to 36 degrees tonight, New Hartford 37. The weather should cooperate for high school football games. We're looking at temperatures tomorrow evening in the low 50s around kickoff. The weather looks dry, so again, pretty decent weather here on the cool side, but it is getting into the end of September after all. The fall foliage report, we're seeing color starting to emerge across most of central New York, with the leaves more than halfway turned across the higher elevations, especially the Adirondacks. So the weather should cooperate this weekend too. If you want to look at the fall color, I think Sunday will be the best day weather-wise, sunshine, but even Saturday looks nice too for any fall events taking place. Temperatures over the weekend climb into the 60s. The bigger picture shows high pressure driving our weather. This is also going to drive Hurricane Ian to the south, and for the most part, staying away from central New York. Here's a look at our Storm Tracker 2 Skycast. We're expecting clear skies tonight. Expect a cold start to tomorrow. Temperatures in the 30s at 7 a.m. High clouds expected to build in from the afternoon from the south. Temperatures look to climb into the mid to upper 50s. Low 60s in the lower elevations. Tomorrow night, clouds look to increase across the area. And on Saturday, some sprinkles start to show up late in the afternoon south of the Mohawk Valley. And that's from the very fringe of the leftovers of Hurricane Ian. It looks like this storm is going to weaken tremendously, but we may see some very minor impacts here on Saturday. Again, mainly just looking at clouds and a few sprinkles. We are not expecting winds with the system at all in our area. Patchy frost tonight down to 36. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, highs in the low 60s. Look at your Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Mostly cloudy Saturday, 64. A stretch of dry, sunny weather is expected next week. Temperatures in the mid-60s, overnight lows in the upper 30s to low 40s. Jason.
Bill, thank you. Hey, great fall day, right?